Okay, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be drawing something. I'm not really sure what that's going to be. I've basically got with me 3 pens of varying widths. 4 pens, sorry, let's do that. So just quickly, it's probably been about a year or more since I've drawn anything, and I'm really feeling like I need to. So yeah, that's basically why I've set this up today, because I want to draw something and see what comes out. With no real sort of expectations. Kind of a little bit worried, actually. I feel a bit of, I suppose, fear going into this. Not necessarily from anything in particular. I just don't really know what to expect. I think it's been too long since I've drawn anything. And yeah, I'm not sure. I just feel a little bit anxious, I suppose, which is kind of strange. I used to enjoy drawing a lot, but at the moment I haven't really found much time for it for a while, and that's a shame, because I think that there's a part of me that really wants to do a lot more drawing, especially, but I've never really been too confident with it. So, hopefully we can embark on this journey together, and if you want to draw along with me, that would be quite nice, I suppose. Feel free to mute me if you don't want to hear my voice and you just want to put on some music in the background while I draw and while you draw, and we can draw together. Hopefully you are not as fearful as me about fucking up the piece of paper or drawing something that you don't like. And if you are, then hey, we're in this together. Yeah, I suppose one of the things that I fear is that I lack the creativity to do something that I haven't done before. I think when I started drawing more often, I started noticing that a lot of my drawings were very similar, and it kind of worried me. You kind of get a bit in a rut, and then you're not sure if you're ever going to get out of that rut. At the same time, I think it's quite nice as an artist sometimes to know your style, and for that to be familiar. To have some sort of aesthetic to your work that people can see and instantly think, I know who did that. That looks like so-and-so's work. It's quite nice. But at the same time, as an artist, maybe there are degrees of boredom that can come with doing the same thing over and over again. Well, at least for me, that's how I kind of feel. So yeah, I don't know if you relate to any of this. Maybe you can write about it in the comments and we can discuss it further. I'd be interested to know sort of how other artists feel about their work, about their creative process, about what they go through on a daily, weekly, or however oftenly that might be for them. So, as I said, when I went into this, I didn't really have any idea sorry, excuse me, what I was going to draw. I still don't really know much of what this is going to be, but it is going to become some sort of landscape, I think. There's some element to this that I'm enjoying. So I'm just going to keep putting in lines and things where I feel like they should go until we discover what we're drawing. I've never really been one to sort of plan a drawing much. I just kind of sit down with the pen and see what comes out. At least that's what works for me. I think sometimes when I've tried to draw something specific, it's always ended up way worse than I wanted it to be. So for me, having no expectations is a much easier way of actually getting something done and then appreciating it a little bit. I actually want this to kind of sit maybe behind or in front of a cloud. Let's have some more clouds. Sorry, I know I'm mumbling a little bit. I don't often talk to the camera. This is probably the first time I've ever actually done this in this way, so bear with me. I think this year I would like to draw a lot more than I did the last year for sure. I do really sort of find it quite calming. And I enjoy art so much. It's a shame that I don't. I do need to do it more for sure. I think one thing I'd like to, do this year especially would be some sort of like larger pieces. I think I always sort of end up drawing on these little A5 pieces of paper, which I quite like. I think my hand naturally wants to do small things like this, but I mean, maybe I would like to do something on a canvas, not necessarily with paints, but some other sort of mediums. Something textural, something a bit abstract, or maybe just playing with like a really limited color palette rather than just being black and white, adding something, could be nice. Sorry if I do cough a fair bit during this. I'm just getting over COVID. I had the dreaded flu last week, and it's been quite a ride. I'm not sure if any of you have had it yet or not. Hopefully not, because it wasn't fun. But yeah, it was definitely like worse than I expected. I kind of got to a point where I was like, the world has had COVID for so long now that surely it doesn't matter anymore. It's not that bad. And then when I got it, I kind of regretted ever thinking that because it was shit. It was absolutely balls. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these leaves just yet. There was a mark here, I don't know if you saw that at the beginning, that I kind of wanted to do something with. So I turned it into a leaf. And then, I don't know, I feel like these are quite like a foregroundy element. I want this stuff to be pushed back quite far. We'll just keep going and see what happens. I don't know if you can hear those crickets in the background. It's actually quite nice. I feel very I don't know, I think I've been very stressed for a couple of months now. It hasn't been the nicest. So just to sit down and do this now kind of feels really, really good. Just letting go of some of that stress. Being and doing something present, I suppose. What do we got? Sometimes I feel like these things, like the clouds or the leaves, are kind of like little distractions for me. They kind of let me think, because I can just doodle them in, and they don't really matter too much, while my mind sort of like processes the rest of what's happening in the picture. sort of layer down here. Some mountains or rocks or something. I want to have a little house somewhere around here. Not too sure where, but I know that it belongs somewhere. I'm going to say, let's just put it in. I'm going to start with the roof. And then let's go this direction. This is where everything could fall down. I'm not very careful, I suppose this would be the word, when it comes to vanishing points and perspective and things like this. I kind of just go for it and hope for the best. But I do notice some things and try to make it work. I just don't know if I always get that correct. I suppose my art style isn't very careful at all, really, is it? I don't like going in with a pencil first, for example, and sketching. That always frustrates me. I think I always smudge the graphite or something like that, and it always just bugs me. Ends up looking crappy. I'm gonna put a little bush here. Most of the time, I think I try to keep the right hand side of things a little bit darker than the left. I just find it as an easy way to kind of control that sort of lighting or shading without thinking too much. I just kind of decide on one side that I'll shade more than the other, and then I don't really have to think about it. Put a little bit of shading under the roof. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I think. Here we go, a little timber hut or something, little shelter. Not sure what we'll do about the door. Maybe it'll just be like a door frame. Could be a bit of a darker frame. And we'll do some vertical slats on that one. Yeah, it's nice. I like it. Little hut. Okay. Maybe we got a little tree sort of behind or around the building. Trees are fun. You don't really have to think either about that. You just kind of, I don't know, imagine all these different little branches breaking off and just kind of let them go whichever way they want. It's nice. I think that's one thing I enjoy about the way that I draw. I don't really try to do stuff that's too realistic. It's all kind of like little impressions. But it often kind of looks nice enough that I'm happy with it, which is cool. Okay. What's next? Maybe we'll have a little pathway. A little path that comes down from the door, and it can move wherever it wants. I can go up that way, and maybe it separates. Yeah, it's quite nice. Let's go and fill in some more of these mountains while we sort of digest what's happened down there. The other thing I like about this kind of like sketching style that I do is like, I don't know, I find it hard to make any like catastrophic mistakes, you know, like because everything is so loose and just kind of hinting ideas as to what things are. I don't know, it doesn't matter if I scribble out of line or if something is not completely straight or whatever. I like that. There's some nice mountains over there. Alright. Okay, let's continue these ones a little bit. Let's get something cool going on over here. I hope I don't cover it too much for you so you can't see. That wouldn't be fun. I do try to kind of point the direction of my like pen strokes in the direction that I want the terrain to go. I think that's kind of like how I do it. Like if I'm going up the hill, I'll move the pen uphill, and if I want it to like flatten out a little bit, I'll do that, rather than kind of keeping the same direction with the pen. There's lots of little thoughts as well that happen while I draw. Like, I remember someone once mentioning that things in the background are like less clear or they're darker in color. So sometimes I'll go back and kind of push some more darkness, more shade into the things that I want to be further back. And then the things that are closer, maybe they'll have a bit more brightness. So for example here, like, you know, add a bit more shade into this side of these mountains, and kind of break it up a little bit between the row in front of them. Not much, but you know, and it might seem a little bit aggressive. Like sometimes you scribble on something and you think, oh shit, I've made it too dark now. But then you just keep going and, you know, add new shade into things that are closer, and it kind of works out again. Like see this, like I kind of got rid of all the harsh shadows, and now I'm going back in and making them blacker again. So I've now got like a completely dark mountain. There you go. Okay, kind of just gonna put in some level ground here, just behind, to kind of give this space a bit more context. And I think this mountain's going to go up all behind. Yeah, it's a big one. Okay, so that one goes up behind the clouds. It's kind of cool. There you go. Got a big mountain over there. But let's not just let it like... I don't just want to have like a one in the foreground being so huge, so I'm just going to divide another little line here and have these mountains in the front and kind of push that one back a little bit further. It's looking quite nice. So now we'll go in and add in some of the dark side of this mountain. Sorry that I'm not talking too much. I kind of just get in a bit of a flow and I just want to keep sketching without thinking if my words are good or bad. Does anyone else do that? I'm not sure if any of you guys make videos yourselves or record or talk to yourself. But sometimes I overthink what I'm saying or why I'm saying what I'm saying. I stress about it. It's funny. I think in every drawing, I'm not sure. Actually, yeah, I'm curious, if other artists do this as well. I've never been happy 100% with a drawing. I think, at the time of finishing it, at least. There's always something that I see that I'm like, ah, crap, I should have done this instead, or I don't like where I put this. There'll be some placement, for example, that just doesn't quite sit right. And you kind of regret drawing that thing or shading that dark or something. And at the time of doing it, it's very noticeable for myself or for you maybe. But then I come back to it maybe after I've seen the picture for a while, maybe a year or two, you then look at it and you've forgotten about all of those different things, and it kind of just everything in the picture kind of works again. So I don't know, for me it just proves that a lot of these struggles are in your own mind, and you just got to get past it. It's just natural. But at the same time, maybe don't completely ignore them all. For me, any mistake that I've seen in a drawing has always encouraged me to not make that same mistake in the next drawing that I do. So, I kind of use it as a way of always trying to improve myself or improve my art, rather than just thinking that I completely failed and that, I'm a useless artist or I'm never going to be any good, or I don't know, whatever else thoughts have crossed my mind from time to time. It's just like, oh, okay, well, that angle there, or that color, or that thing that I drew really didn't work how I hoped it would. Maybe next time I should not put that in that same way, or I don't know. I suppose that's why I've then tried to sketch stuff, and that always fails, so I don't know. That's a weird thing. I don't know if these clouds are really in front of this tree or not, but hey, for the sake of just moving forward, we're not going to worry about it. They're now in front. And like this tree, for example, I'm sure, if I'd have sketched this first, I probably would have tried to erase on that mountain before putting in the tree, or... Actually, yeah, I'm going to bring this tree in front of this cloud. It just makes more sense to me. It's a lot closer. What was I saying? Yeah, so if I had have sketched it, I might have erased some of the mountain, and then I've got to try and put the mountain back in. And it's not going to be the same. I didn't plan to have the tree, but when I got to this point, it kind of felt like that was the next correct thing to do for me. So I did it. And then I just kind of darken it. I imagine it to be quite a dark brown. It doesn't, it's not like it's see-through. I don't have to see the mountain behind it. I can just keep shading it until the mountain kind of doesn't ever look like it was part of this area, and that the tree was always intentional. I think I would like this tree to have some sort of branches or stuff on it. So let's do that. I'm going to do real kind of scribbly lines to begin with. I think leaves and twigs are pretty chaotic. I don't imagine them to be very well formed or in a certain place. It's kind of cool. I like that it's a little bit childish, kind of reminds me of a storybook. I think too often we try to draw perfectly. We try to make everything, great. We want to do our best, etc. And not I'm not saying that this is me not trying, but I think that by trying not to make it perfect is probably going to make it nicer. So maybe my way of expressing my idea of perfect is not to be perfect, and just to kind of scribble and let things happen however they want to happen. Now we got a leaf that kind of makes sense, and another one kind of falling off, which is cool. Maybe we'll have... What's it? Sorry, my cat's interrupting me. I think he's hungry. But his food will come. It's automatic, so he's fine. What else would we have in a world like this? Okay. I'm done with that tree. Almost. Oh, hello. Cutie. Sorry. Alright. So, I don't know if this is just mountains. Realistically, this could be... I'm not sure, it doesn't feel right just to fill it in with a mountain. We're going to do... Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to go with a straight line. Make a bit of like a land area, I don't know. And then, so this is the kind of thing that I do worry about. You know, is this going to be something that breaks the whole drawing? Was it a good idea to put a little house on the mountain? It's very small, so maybe you wouldn't even notice it. Or maybe you wouldn't have even known it was a house if I didn't say. I don't know. It's okay by me. Continue the mountain behind. I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe you don't like it. I don't know. I don't really mind. This is a little house sitting back in the shade of the mountain. It would be a very cold house probably. Who knows? Okay. I find it very difficult to like shade clouds how I'd like to. I kind of want them to have, you know, something. But then I find that lines of any kind make them very rigid. And I don't imagine clouds to be rigid. I want soft clouds. It's fun. Maybe just little impressions of shadow or shading or depth. I'm not sure. It's alright. Okay, so we got our little house down here. I like it. Gonna define some of these edges a little bit more now. Just make them a bit darker. That's nice. Cool. Alright, there's definitely another house over here. But what's it gonna do? Not sure if I make it bigger or not. Let's find out. That feels scary. Okay. Doesn't feel right. I don't want to push it. Let's just give it some more context on ground. Let's have a look at what happens. I'm going to shade a little bit more around the tree. On this bottom left side again, just because I want it to have a bit more shade due to the, branches above it. Still got this little pathway sort of forming over here. It's quite nice. Okay. Bit of shade by the side of the house, not a lot. Just a touch. Okay, now what I like to do sometimes is like on the pathway especially, just to put, some dots and things that maybe indicate some stones or little pebbles. A shade where it's not the path a bit more. It falls down a little bit either side. It's quite nice. Oh, that could be pretty. Let's do that. So I want to have maybe a bit of like a well or something. Alright, we're just going to go in. I kind of want it to be here. Okay, it's not going to be huge. Just a little brick well. And again, I know my perspective might not be perfect. I don't really mind as long as it's not going in the completely wrong direction. Just putting in the indication of some bricks or something like that. I've always loved bricks as a pattern. I remember like when I played like Rummy Cuppers or something as a kid, I always wanted to just play with the bricks and make different shapes out of them, like different tiling patterns or something like this. It always seemed so satisfying how they would just all line up perfectly and tessellate in different ways. It was cool. Okay. So maybe the well has like a sort of timber structure. Comes somewhere. And then we're going to need to sort of round out the well. And I just want it to be a bit black down the bottom as it's going down, This part can still sort of be bricks and things like that. And maybe we'll just shade in from the sides. That's kind of nice. And then maybe we've got, what is it, a bucket? A little bucket. It hangs up here. a bit of a rope, and then I don't really know. I haven't seen a well for a long time. Maybe it just goes straight onto like a sheltered part. I don't know if it's a round shelter or not. Let's just do like a wooden triangle frame or something. I'm sure it works. Might round it down a little bit. Cool. Pretty happy with that. Now we can add the ground in around it. Start off with that shaded side. And just give some rough scratches to the bricks so they give it a bit more truth. You know, this is an old well. It's been there for a long time. It's not going to be perfect. My cat's going crazy. It was kind of nice. Alright. Okay, I'm going to chuck another tree over here. Just kind of felt right. It's a windy tree. Okay. I like how this is coming along. I might stop in around about 15 minutes and we'll just have like a 1 hour video today. And then I'll come back tomorrow, I think, and probably finish it off and do the rest of the other half. That'd be quite nice. Sorry that I didn't end up talking too much. I don't really know, you know, I don't want to just talk for the sake of it and give you guys absolutely nothing worth listening to. Maybe you just decided to put on some music at the same time and I can talk over that, something soft. I think I would like to talk about things similar to what else I'm more interested in. You know, I've always wondered how, you know, how an artist can make a living doing, you know, what they enjoy. You know, authentically, I suppose. And I struggle with that idea because I've seen a couple of artists that are doing well for themselves in person at shops, or they'll have like stalls and stuff. But I feel like the ones that do the best are the ones that are kind of just, they're not doing their own original things. They're just kind of creating. Sorry, excuse me. They found something that people like. Maybe it's just pictures of wildlife, or like this one instance, for example, as a real example, there was this girl that was living near where we were staying, in this beach town, and it was quite touristic. So she had this shop where she was selling all kinds of art, related to sea creatures and wildlife out there, and things like this. And it's like, I kind of felt like she had robbed herself of being herself in exchange for money. She was just creating the things that the people wanted to buy, rather than creating just because she wanted to create it. Which I'm not saying is completely wrong. She's still enjoying that, and she's making an income, and she's surviving and living well. Then props to her, as long as she's not sort of like sacrificing her own happiness in order to do that. Her creative ability or whatever it may be, then, I think that's great. But unfortunately, I didn't get that impression. I kind of felt like she would have preferred to be a different style of artist, more authentic to her. And that was upsetting. So, I don't know, I've kind of fallen in love with business in general over the years, as I've tried to sort of make an income, but it's never been with art for me. And I would like it to be. I would like to be able to create art and, generate some sort of income. It would be nice, but I don't want to just make art for the sake of just selling it, because I think that would become quite tedious and not really true to who I am. So I've always kind of struggled with this idea, and I'd like to hear your input as well. Maybe, I don't know if any of you guys are, you sell art or you make art, or whether you work on commissioned pieces and stuff like this. Like, I've had a few commissioned pieces in the past to do, but I've never really been happy with the result, and I don't really think that the customer was either, or the people who had asked me to do so. Because there was a clear difference for me in what I create like this now, authentically for me, just exploring, and when I've got like an objective or something I need to achieve. There's a big difference in the art style, in how it flows, and how it all goes together. So, I don't know, for me, commissioned work isn't really anything I'm interested in at all. I want to just create things for me, and if people like it and they want to buy a copy or a print or the original, then maybe that's a good thing, and maybe I should go towards that. But I've always been very scared to do it. I don't know. Now that we're getting a little bit closer to the foregroundish kind of area, I'm starting to put in a few rocks and things that I think are, that you would start to notice at a closer scale. Back there I didn't really care. Now you've got a bit of grass and stuff like that, so I think it makes sense. I'm happy with this so far. I like where this is going. I hope you've enjoyed sort of watching along or drawing with me, or if you have been drawing, I would really like to see it. That could be quite nice. So if you want, you can follow me on Instagram at Daniel Comben. I'll put a link in the description if you want to find it there. Yeah, come over, give me a follow, I'll follow you back. Send me some pictures of your art, I'd like to see it for sure. And yeah, any stories you have about, maybe becoming an artist or your experience with art in general. Maybe it's something that you don't enjoy for a certain reason. Maybe it is something that you enjoy for a certain reason. I don't know. I suppose, yeah, the more that I get to know you guys, the more I'll start to share, things about me that may be relevant or may be able to help in some way. It'd be nice. If anyone has any suggestions on what they want to name this piece, feel free to comment that as well. I'd like to see your ideas for a name. So yeah, if you did like sort of just hanging out with me while I do this, and you want to see more of my art and you want to see me do it more often, feel free to subscribe. I'm not sure exactly how YouTube works, but I'm sure that people, that there's a way for you to get notified if I upload again. And I'm going to try and do this maybe like at least twice a week. I think that would be good for me. And maybe that works for you. So if you want to come and hang out twice a week and make some art together, then yeah, subscribe, hit the notifications, and then jump on it on Instagram if you want to chat over there. Send me a message and we'll go on this journey together. I quite like it. This is actually the first time I think I've ever sort of filmed myself drawing anything that hasn't completely gone to shit within 5 minutes. So, yay! Small celebrations. Alrighty, I'm probably going to wrap it up there, and then hopefully by the time tomorrow comes I'll figure out what's happening over in this section. We can finish it off. So yeah, if you want to see part 2 of this and you want to see how it ends, see what the rest of this drawing is, then as I said, subscribe, follow me on Instagram if you want to see it there, TikTok and whatever else is going on. I've never used TikTok before, so hopefully it's pretty straightforward and I can just upload like a quick time lapse or something. I don't know. Alrighty. Peace. Well, I'm not sure if that was the right hand gesture I wanted to give, but take care. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.